Hey everybody, we're back with our brand new Friday Review show of the week. Excited because I love our Friday Review time together. We get to go over 2 brand new research studies. Every week I try to bring you the research that matters. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of clinical research studies in the field of natural health and also, I would say, functional medicine published every single week. I try to choose 2 out of those out of the 50 to 100 that I personally have seen. And what I want to do is bring you that so that it serves you or your family, your loved ones. On top of the research studies for the week, I also like to bring you a product review. This week is no different, as well as a book review or what maybe it's a video, a webinar, etc. that I think you should check out. All right, but every single week we start the show with the updates, what's been going on inside of the community. Well, we finished up our global 7-day functional medicine detox by Equilife. Thousands, if not over 10,000 people joined us this summer. And again, you can complete yours anytime you want, July or August. We do another in the fall in September. But what it allows us to do is get rid of a lot of those things that you've been probably seeing in the news. The phthalates, the plastics, the heavy metals, the fluoride, all of things that collect in our body, in our vessel, which is right the organism that carries us through life. So by emptying that rain barrel through opening up liver and kidney detoxification pathways, simply one of the best things that you can do for your health. You can find the details of what we just did at stevencabral.com/detox. And if you missed it over the last week, Monday, we went over the best ways to stay positive even when you're not seeing results. Tuesday's show was an anti-aging doctor, so pretty much world-renowned cardiologist, also based on Dr. Linus Pauling's work, Nobel Prize winner, 2-time Nobel Prize winner. And we went over the essentially top 10 supplements that this doctor recommends for anti-aging and longevity. I share the ones that I agree, share the ones that I disagree. And we got a nice show right there. Wednesday was weight loss and health tip, basically taking advantage of what's called basal autophagy. How to ramp that up to get into autophagy naturally without having to overdo your fast. I shared with you exactly what to do there. And then yesterday, how to improve your cardiovascular age, that calculation we gave you the week before, and your overall health, meaning like the number one thing that we need to do to live a long, healthy life is make sure our vascular system, our heart, arteries, veins, etc., stay elastic, they stay flexible, and they stay clean and clear. And I went over how to do that yesterday. All right, today's show is episode 3073. That means all of the links for today's show, everything we mentioned, the research, the product reviews, will be at stevencabral.com/3073. Let's dive right in. So product review of the week, it's a little too big for me to hold right now. So what I'm gonna do is share a photo, but it is a foldable bench that I got for this office you see right now. But here's what I did. So I spend my summer in Maine, and I'm very fortunate to be able to do that. I've been coming to Maine since I was a child. It started off as a seasonal-based cottage, so well water only. It opened up after Memorial Day, and it closed at somewhere around mid-October. So beautiful, beautiful Maine. If you've been to Maine, it's amazing. All of Maine's amazing, but we're pretty much on the coast in southern Maine, a couple hours north of Boston, and absolutely love it. And so when I had the opportunity to be able to purchase a small home for my family, I had to do it, right? And so that's now, believe it or not, been almost 10 years. So I have a separate office here in Maine. I'm in an old mill, no air conditioning. So if it looks like I'm sweating, I am, right? No air conditioning, no real heat during the winter, except for a space heater when I come up during the Thanksgiving and Christmas break. But I absolutely love it. So I usually go to a gym right around the corner. This summer, I decided not to because I said, you know what? It takes, I know it's not a lot of time, but 15 minutes to the gym, 15 minutes back, basically, it adds on to my schedule. So 30 minutes, not a huge amount of time, but I'm always trying to just maximize my time, not stress myself out, but actually maximize my time. So it gives me a little bit more time at work, just to be truthful. So I get a little bit more work time. And then what I can do is, okay, work completed, great. I have adjustable dumbbells here. I have dip bars, I have bands, and I have a kettlebell. So I wanted to buy a bench so I could do heavier lifts. I could do a heavier bench if I wanted to. I could use it for other exercises as well. So the bench that I got was a brand new one. It's foldable. And the reason why I'm really sharing it with you is because, okay, gym bench, whatever, no big deal. But this one It's an incline, it's a decline, obviously flat, but it folds up into a very small footprint. So hopefully we can show that. And it folds up and can go right in your closet. Like, it is a small foldable bench. The only one that I've ever seen. So if you're someone that's trying to save space, I've shared with you the walking pad before, which folds up and go right under a bed. This one right here, let me see. It could go up, it could go under a bed if it's a platform, like if it's a raised bed for sure, but it could fold up right in a closet. I remember doing at-home personal training way back in the early 2000s. And you could have put that right in your closet with these adjustable dumbbells. Literally, it's all you need. If you have dumbbells and you've got bands which take up no space, and you have a bench, you can do all the exercises you want. So it's pretty phenomenal. It's not that big of an investment, and obviously it'll pay for itself if you're using that instead of a gym membership. So pretty fantastic. Wanted to share that with you. If you have a condo, I lived in small condos basically my whole life until 2023. It was the first time we had like a real house. It's kind of funny saying that, but we always lived in the city. Always lived in small condos. It was great, right? The city is your basically your playground. You're outside, but that was the first time, and I love both. But I have to say that if you're in a small condo or office, these foldable, adjustable dumbbells, easy things like that, they take away the excuses. That's the truth. It's right there beside me. I have no excuse except I just chose not to do it, right? So I don't like to use that as an excuse, that's for sure. All right, so I'll link that up for you. It's just on Amazon. I'll share the brand that I purchased. Okay, what is our book review or webinar or video of the week? I did a private talk for practitioners through the Bioregulatory Medicine Institute. Now, I studied bioregulatory medicine back when I was getting my degree. So many moons ago, right? And bioregulatory medicine is phenomenal. It was the modern day version of the Ayurvedic 6 phases of dysfunction, of disease. And through bioregulatory medicine, there's something called homotoxicology. I have a podcast on that. We can definitely link it up for you. If you don't know the 6 phases of disease, definitely check that out. But I gave a talk, and it's a little, it's practitioner based. So maybe a little bit more technical, but worth it. It really is. It's worth it. I touch on this inside of the rain barrel effect, but it's called the Neuro-Endo immune system. And I'm going to break it down right now. If it interests you, we're going to link it up for you. So it's about a 30-minute talk, but essentially how we humans get sick, diseased, and end up with all of these terrible things and age much faster is because of neuro-endo immune dysfunction. And what that means is that either exogenously, outside of us, we have a stressor, or inside of us, endogenously, we have a stressor. It stresses the immune system. It stresses the nervous system. That means it pushes us more towards fight or flight. Okay? So it pushes more of the sympathetic nervous system. That's part of the autonomic nervous system. All right? So you've got parasympathetic, rest and relax. That's how we heal. You've got sympathetic nervous system, and that's fight or flight. All right. So we get pushed towards fight or flight based on inflammation caused with endogenous parasites or heavy metals or whatever it might be, or work, life, emotional, relationship-based stress. Okay. So we've got that. But then it affects our adrenals. Right? So it affects our cortisol output, norepinephrine output. That's fight or flight. And then what does that do? It causes dysfunction in thyroid, as well as lowers testosterone, at least chronically over time. It can lower progesterone, especially in women, causing infertility, estrogen dominance, all sorts of issues, right? It can dysregulate blood sugar. So literally the stress on the body, the adrenals are part of the stress, HPA axis, dysregulates all the other major organs of the body. Pancreas, right? That's blood sugar. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but this is what happens. And then finally, it disrupts our immune system, leading to chronic inflammation from a Th2 or Th1 or both dominant position, leading to the chronic fatigue, chemical sensitivities, allergies, asthma of Th2, or in the hives, the mastocytosis, or the autoimmune issues, which oftentimes is characterized by Th1 dominance. And that is how we get sick. I know that's kind of in a nutshell and oversimplified, but that's what happens. So then how do we get well? Well, that's what I talk about in the rain barrel effect. We have to reverse the process. But if you're reversing the process just by trying to treat a thyroid or a pancreas, you're not going to get there. That's why green medicine, a lot of functional medicine, and of course, conventional medicine will never help people get well. They want to, but they literally do not know how because they're focused on the end symptom. But the end symptom isn't what got people hit there in the first place. So if that sounds interesting to you, 30 minutes, hopefully it'll be worth it. We'll link that up at episode 3073. All right, research study number 1 of the week. I found it to be half humorous, half scary. All right, so Envita Biosciences. That's my ear, nose, and throat background here on allergies and asthma, etc. Let's do a take 2 here. Envita Biosciences, which was founded by Viswa Kolaru, utilizes AI to analyze plant chemistry for medicinal purposes. Envita Biosciences announced they have secured a $55 million Series B2 from investors including Microsoft, True Ventures, FPM, Premji Invest, the Nature Conservancy, and others. With a database of 38,000 medicinal plants linked to about 12,000 diseases and symptoms, Envita aims to expedite drug discovery processes, with 2 drugs expected to enter clinical trials later this year. All right, so the first thing is this. I already saw this happening and I'd heard about it before, but I was over in internships around 2010 or so and in India, and there were reps from most major pharmaceutical companies studying with the Ayurvedic doctors to figure out what they use these medicinal plants for. Then their job was to bring this to the pharmaceutical company, say, hey, this works. But they can't use that, obviously, in conventional medicine pharmaceuticals because they need to patent it. That's the only way they can make money from it. So what they do, like the example of red yeast rice, well, a statin drug is an extract from red yeast rice. Does red yeast rice also work? The answer is yes, right? But a statin can then make billions of dollars every year for the pharmaceutical companies. And we're talking about tens of billions of dollars. And so this is why they do it. Now, here's the issue. There are almost always side effects when you convert a plant to a pharmaceutical. That's the issue. So do I love the research being done? Yes. Do I love that it's going to be patented so that only a pharmaceutical company can sell it? No. Do I also love that Microsoft and other people are investing in this who don't always have the best of intentions? I don't love that either. So this remains to be seen, but I'll tell you right now, AI is going to shortcut this very, very quickly. And you're going to be able to see some pretty outstanding things. My goal is to be able to back engineer this. And if they do find other uses for medicinal herbs, the 38,000 medicinal plants that they have inside of their database, then I can go in and I can say, oh, they're using this drug now for whatever it might be, like CLS, et cetera. Great. I'll say, and they're using an extract from this plant. Oh, let's look into this. Let's see what other trials might have been done just on this plant. Can we use that specifically? So yeah, and then of course, always finding the underlying root cause. So, it's one of those things where it's inevitable, but hopefully we can also use it for good as well. All right, research number 2, I have a full podcast coming out on this next week. And this is so important. It really is. But it gets a little complicated. And I want to make sure that it does not get so complicated that we can't wrap our hands around this or our head around it. And the reason is this: it literally is the most overlooked cause of aging, disease, and most likely mortality. And it's called endotoxemia. Now, what does that mean? Well, it literally means lipopolysaccharides, LPSs, are moving from the gut, especially after we eat, into the bloodstream, causing massive inflammation. And that inflammation leads to heart disease, high blood pressure and stroke, diabetes, cancer, and Alzheimer's. All 5 causes of mortality, all 5. And it's almost never talked about, yet it's been known and proven by science. Next week, I'm going to just give you an amazing amount of research. However, I'll make it actionable, because that's really what we all want. So a lipopolysaccharide is also called a glycolipid. Whenever you hear glyco, just think of sugar, right? Or saccharide, think of sugar. And lipo, think of a fat. Okay, so we've got these sugars and fats that are essentially the outside coating or membrane of a gram-negative bacteria. So here's what I want you to think about. These bacteria, endotoxins, are leaving the gut, causing inflammation in your bloodstream and creating almost every imaginable disease. And I'm going to share with you right now just a little bit of research on what causes the majority of it. And this is what's going to be most controversial, not because it's not already proven by science. It is. It's been proven for at least a decade, but many people aren't going to like to hear this. So this was done in the European Union. This was a study of 75 participants, but I've got over a dozen studies, some larger, et cetera, and this is just clinically proven. So participants were randomized to receive one of 4 isoenergetic diets for 12 weeks. 2 of the diets provided 38% energy from fat. That means 38% of their diet came from fat. High saturated fat diet and a high monounsaturated fat diet. All right, so saturated fats would be like meats and eggs and even coconut oil that's slightly different, dairy, etc. All right, and monounsaturated would be avocados, olive oil, etc. The 2 remaining were low-fat, high complex carb diets and provided 28% of energy as fat. One of these diets was supplemented with 1.24 grams a day of omega-3 fatty acids. All right, so after 12 weeks on the assigned diet, the participants received a fat challenge in which they received 0.7 grams per kilogram body weight of the same fat composition consumed during the dietary intervention phase. All right, here were the outcomes. They wanted to look at plasma lipoproteins, glucose levels, blood sugar levels, gene expression, etc. Basically, they wanted to look at inflammation and glucose. Here were the key findings. There was a postprandial increase, that just means after you ate, increase in LPSs, lipopolysaccharide levels, in participants who received a high saturated fat diet following the normal high saturated fat diet. No postprandial changes, though, were noted in the other 3 groups. So only the high saturated fat diet, the 38% fat in their diet. Now remember, think of all the keto people out there that have been telling you for years, keto, keto, keto. Eat all the pork rinds that you want. Eat all the bacon that you want. Eat all of these things. When you listen to, I want to be kind here, improper advice, even if well-intentioned, because they got body transformation results. Remember, body transformation doesn't equal health, okay? A six-pack, abs, does not equal health. I just want to state that there. They are causing sickness in our population. All right, if you want to talk about maybe keto and other things like that with a high monounsaturated, the science shows that at least at 38%, not an elevation in lipopolysaccharides. All right, here we go, just a little bit more for this. The results suggest that the consumption of a high saturated fat diet increases the intestinal absorption of LPSs, which increases postprandial endotoxemia levels and postprandial inflammatory responses. So that is it. I wanted to share that with you because it's important. And I'm going to go much more in depth next week. But if you're dealing with an autoimmune issue, if you're dealing with cardiovascular, blood sugar issues, if you're dealing with potential cancer in your family, these are things that we need to pay attention to. They really are. As I've always said before, I have no dog in the race. I want people to be healthy. I want them to be happy. I want them to live a long, prosperous life. A high saturated fat diet. I'm not saying you can't eat saturated fat. I'm not saying that. You can have some saturated fat in your diet. But all these people talking about, massive amounts of saturated fat and that it's so good for you by eating sticks of butter. No, some grass-fed butter is okay. Sticks of butter, bad idea. All right, hopefully this was helpful. Full show coming next week. Of course, if you want to read the research, I will link it up for you at stevencabral.com/3073. Appreciate you tuning in today. I'll be back tomorrow with our brand new Cabral House Calls, answering our community's questions for the weekend. Take care. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.